been sharing some of my thoughts and contemplations on this beautiful prayer that we say every morning after our practice called the Monastic Mind Motivation. And we're down to the last sentence, which is chock full of wonderful wisdom. So to quickly review, this is a very powerful prayer to say, is we've thought about this monastic mind that we want to cultivate, and it doesn't matter whether we're monastics, having aspirations, living as monastics, or lay people. We've spoken about the qualities that are crucial in cultivating this mind, including the Buddhist worldview, where, you know, you have in your framework that the possibility of becoming awakened is there, that your actions have some sort of ethical component, and that your mind is the source of happiness and pain. And then along with the Buddhist worldview, wanting to cultivate compassion, mindfulness, wisdom, and other good qualities. The monastic mind motivation prayer also, really encourages us to become aware of our minds, where they go, what arises, what we want to abandon, what we want to foster, and how we are keeping our precepts and values and living them very, very directly in our lives. We've looked at the kindness of others as being the cooperative conditions to pretty much have what we have and know what we know, and are the cooperative conditions basically for being where we are and how things are going for us. And all of our qualities, all of our skills, what we have, every aspect of our lives due to the kindness of others. So the last sentence gives us 3 important teachings of the Buddha as a framework on how to hold this motivation and way of thinking. The first one is, as we train our minds to cultivate this monastic perspective, we try to remember that everything about us, our minds, our lives, others, all phenomena is changing moment by moment. There is nothing solid about it, there's nothing permanent about it. And that when we get surprised, when we get discombobulated, when we get upset that things aren't going the way that we think they should be going, that we have forgotten this fundamental teaching. And as a result, is suffering this dissatisfaction, wanting to be somebody that we like and we want to stay that way, that we expect things to happen that we want, and that without this understanding, even on an intellectual level, what impermanence is, it is a huge cause of suffering and a huge obstacle to cultivating the monastic mind. We are changing moment by moment. Our situations are changing moment by moment. Others, their minds, their situations, everything in our universe is impermanent and changing moment by moment. And we need to just try and hold that as part of our practice, this fundamental characteristic. One of the 3 of the nature of cyclic existence is that it is transitory and uncertain. So we add impermanence to our contemplations to sort of frame our whole training in cultivating the monastic mind. And not only is everything changing moment by moment, but there is nothing there findable when you go to look for it. So the second one of this sentence, I will, in all activities, I will endeavor to remember impermanence and the emptiness of inherent existence and to act with bodhicitta. So beyond using impermanence as a framework for this motivation, then we start looking at, well, how do things actually exist? And that when we try to pull out anything out of our lives, to draw a circle around it, point at it, put it out there, and to put it out there all by itself without needing anything to bring it into existence, including our minds, is that we're not seeing things the way that they exist. And that when we look and examine closely, there is nothing about this motivation, there's nothing about ourselves, there's nothing about the mind, there's nothing about the qualities that we're trying to cultivate, there's nothing about the kindness of sentient beings. Any of that exists from its own side, independent from, I was just trying to put together all the possible cooperative conditions for, like, my robes. That is just a vast and limitless understanding, but we don't see it that way. And so to look at the monastic mind motivation through this framework of the emptiness of inherent existence of all aspects of it, there's this thing that kind of came up in my mind when I was thinking about, and I tried to put it into words, because we've been getting a lot of teachings on the grounds and paths and about emptiness and about the path to become awakened and how vast the teachings are. And the whole idea that because things are empty of inherent existence, that they can exist and function. There's something about that that is an amazing thought, well worth meditating over and over again, day after day. And if we can just somehow ponder the possibility of things existing like the Buddha taught, then the whole idea of becoming a Buddha, the whole idea of cultivating this vast mind that wants to become a Buddha for the sole benefit of all sentient beings, having the emptiness of inherent existence as the framework, then it becomes a possibility. Every time I try to put bodhicitta and I try to put awakening within this very small framework of how I perceive the world mistakenly as truly existent, as existing from its own side, it always runs up against this vast possibility with this small thinking. And it doesn't work. But when I try to put it in the framework, whatever my understanding of emptiness is, it just sort of blows the walls off of this small thinking. And so that it works. In my mind, it's beginning to work. So as I struggle to try to cultivate this monastic mind and all these good qualities and the humility and see the kindness of others, when I put it within the framework of how things function and how the Buddha taught how they existed, it's all possible. It's all happening. All of my efforts on making it come to fruition in my own mind is moving in that direction. If I keep it in this kind of small me, self-centered thought, I've got to cultivate this mind so I can get free, I can get liberated in this very mistaken view of how things exist, I struggle around ever thinking that this is going to be possible. And then, to top it off, in the last part of this sentence is to generate bodhicitta. Because then, if you believe and that you start to think that things exist as the Buddha taught, then this vast mind of wanting to go through the three countless great eons of hardship and practice and realizations and purification all has a purpose, all has a result at the end of it. It's not some big thing that I'm never going to be able to realize or to attain because my small mind can't wrap itself around it. But bodhicitta is possible within the framework of emptiness. So this last sentence gives us three of the most profound teachings of the Buddha to help us to cultivate the monastic mind. The impermanence of all phenomena, the emptiness of it, and this beautiful mind that we all want to cultivate, to go through the training, to keep our precepts as purely as we can, to embody those precepts, and to become awakened as quickly as we can for the sole purpose of benefiting every living being. So this is a very, just going over this and thinking about it over the past few weeks has really brought it into my mind in a very heartfelt way. And I hope that whatever I've said in the past few times I've shared has been a little bit helpful, maybe to revisit the possibility of why we work so hard to abandon what we need to abandon and why we want so deeply to cultivate the good qualities that we want to cultivate. It's because we do want to be